Trump a victory?
The fix is in. Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America.
And you ain't black.
I don't know what I said.
The first time ever any...
What are you people?
We're Americans. We are Americans indeed. My name is Vincent. This is
Soraya.
Middle America. Vin and Sori, where we're not left, where we're not right, where we're just right.
Look at that.
We shot a show for you beautiful people yesterday, and we told you we're going to try to make it more regular. And here we are, dear listeners. Shout out
Coming
to Big
through
Homie Tasco.
on that promise.
Shout out to Big Homie Tasco. We're going to get
Tasco?
right into this. Some big freaking news. The Supreme Court has decided that they are going to hear Trump's argument that because he is or was the president at the time of the infraction, that he has immunity. So let's see. Having said that, let's check it out. This is Rising. Let's do it, shall we?
Howdy there, partners, and welcome to Rising. We've got another edition of our show for you today. Happy to be here. How about you, Brianna?
Robbie, what are you up to? Have you been listening to the Beyonce album? What's going on here?
No, it just is what came to mind.
Beyonce
I don't
record
know.
have to
I
do
don't
with it?
know.
All right, well, let me giddy up to the news.
I can't believe that Joy is still on communicable terms with this dude after his meltdown after the whole Israel situation. But I mean, I guess anybody that has friends that supports that side, you got to kind of, all of us have to do something to try to figure out how to make that work. But anyway, here we go. This is shaping up to be one of my favorite political talk shows, if you haven't noticed. Here we go. Brianna and Joy, let's talk about it. Brianna, Joy, Cray, and Robbie, let's talk about Among Crack.
Now, the Supreme Court has decided it will take up the issue of whether former President Donald Trump can claim presidential immunity in Jack Smith's prosecution of Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
I mean, I'm going to tell you guys, like, right out of the gate where I am with this thing. I think Trump absolutely tried to overturn the election. I think it was a failed, insurrection carries with it certain connotations. I like the term soft coup. Soft coup is a term I think Max Blumenthal used it relative to the CIA and Russiagate or something like that. I think so. I think it's a mistake to use the term insurrection because traditionally those things happen with weapons and things of that nature. But there was definitely an attempt to reverse the decision of the people that Mr. Joe Biden was the president. I'm sorry. If you don't believe that, I really don't know what else I could tell you. He lost. It's mind-boggling to me that after all this time, you still have people that believe in the Russiagate nonsense. It's equally as crazy to me that after all this time, you have people that are really acting like all Trump did was give a stump speech, as if he didn't have Giuliani and all these people making phone calls in the middle of all that chaos to try to get votes. He did not want to leave the office. Now, I do not believe that this is about Trump saying, I want to be president forever. I don't even think this happens if Trump loses to Obama. Well, we got Applejack in this bitch. If Trump loses to Obama, I don't think this happens. I think what happened with January 6th was what happened with Tom Brady when he lost the Super Bowl to Nick Foles and he refused to run out into the center of the field and shake hands with the homie. But he had no problem shaking Mahomes' hands and Dak Prescott's hands and all the other people who beat him. Why didn't he do it with Nick Foles? And that's because Nick Foles wasn't worthy to be on the same field as Tommy Brady. He should have been on the same field. So Tom couldn't bring it in himself to lose to Nick Foles. And that's what I think happened with Mr. Trump. I do not believe that Trump was sitting there saying, I'm going to destroy democracy. I don't believe that he was thinking any of that. I think he was saying, Man, I cannot go down in history as losing to this dude.
Oh no.
And
Ego?
And for all the little babyish narcissistic ways in which people are dressed, our president, was that 44 or 45? That very simplistic explanation doesn't seem to be there. They have these giant ambitious, he wants to destroy democracy. No, I think it's as simple as he could not imagine a world in which the history books would have to read that he lost to a guy like Biden, especially in Biden's condition. If you understand what I'm saying, please read between the lines. Stop it with Nick Foles, bro, is a bump. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's the reason why Tom wouldn't shake his hand after he beat him in the Super Bowl, because Nick Foles is a bum. He should have been on the same field as him, and I think that's literally what was going on with the Biden Trump thing. I literally think Trump was like, yo, I cannot accept that this guy in this condition beat me. Like, there's no way. And it's very similar to the way that the left-wingers were, the Democrats were with Russiagate. They could not believe that they lost, because they had it all set up that Hillary was the Lord's anointed, and so they couldn't believe that that's what happened. But that's exactly what happened, dear listener. We continue.
Howdy there, partners, and welcome to Rising. We've got another edition of our show for you today. Happy to be here. How about you, Brianna?
Robbie, what are you up to? Have you been listening to the Beyonce album? What's going on here?
No, it just is what came to mind. I don't know.
All right, well, let me giddy up to the news now. The Supreme Court has decided it will take up the issue of whether former President Donald Trump can claim presidential immunity in Jack Smith's prosecution of Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The justice's order puts proceedings in that trial on hold, further throwing into doubt whether the case will go to jury before election night in November. MSNBC host Chris Hayes.
Which, can we all just be real, is the ultimate design of all these 900 million cases that have been foisted upon Mr. Trump.
Yeah. I mean,
this is about, we refuse to put a progressive in the spot. We're not going to give it to anybody except for Joe Biden, because he said nothing's going to change. And we refuse to put anybody else up in that place because we can't control anybody else. So we're gonna stay with Biden because we can absolutely control him. And if we put Biden up against Trump, he's gonna lose. So the solution is not to get better messaging, not to be better politically, not maybe to apologize for your shortcomings. No, dear listener.
Why would we do that?
The solution is, let's lock up the guy who's gonna beat us so that we don't have to deal with him in the general. That's literally their strategy. As Christine says, if he wasn't running for president, he wouldn't have had any of these cases. Hearshot says they have no one else. Bernie could win. Hell, if Nikki Haley decided to run as a Democrat, she could beat Trump. I'm lying to you. No, I'm not. I think the Democrats would fall behind Nikki Haley.
And you think she could beat Trump?
Look, I had no idea that Joe Biden had a snowball's chance in hell in 2020. Well, he won.
That's true.
I didn't believe that Trump had a snowball's chance in hell in 2016. But he won. So I have a projection of what I think is going to happen, but anybody that says that they definitively know what's going to happen, I mean, I have it on good authority in my mind that I think that Biden's not going to be able to hack it this time around. But what do I know, dear listener?
That the court's decision was part of a conspiracy to keep Trump on the ballot and out of the courtroom in 2020.
Here's the thing that gets me about corporate media, okay? Russiagate itself was the conspiracy theory. Like, literally was a conspiracy theory. The people like Applejack and Jimmy Dore who are saying, Not really seeing the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Those people got called conspiracy theorists. So the people who were spinning the conspiracy theory were pointing at
That's
other
crazy.
people who didn't believe the conspiracy theory and were calling them conspiracy theorists. Like, literally, that's what was happening. Shout out to Sam Stater.
Projection?
I mean, they literally, they do this all the time. Oh, Russian interference, Steele dossier the entire time was one of Hillary's operatives that recruited this spy to do Oppo research and all this.
Right.
Like, almost everything that they accused Trump of during Russiagate, they were actually really and materially guilty of. So it's just so fascinating to me to watch these people pretend like they really are concerned about law and order. We continue.
24. Let's watch.
It is an unmistakable sign from the MAGA majority of the Trump-created court that they are with him, that they are going to use their power to make sure he does not face trial in an election year for attempting to end American democracy.
Again, man, I'm sorry. I don't think it's that deep. You guys got to decide what version of Trump we're supposed to be dealing with. I thought he was a tan, orange man who didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was just a buffoon, fat fingers on Twitter. Right? That's what you told me he was. But now, he's freaking Kaiser Sose, about to overthrow the entire democratic apparatus of the United States of America. Come on, bro. Stop. I can see how Trump beat Hillary because that woman is evil. Oh, the scandal surrounding that woman over the years and what they did to Haiti is awful. There's no way that woman has a soul. Well, I agree. She doesn't have a soul, but I mean, everything you just said about her can be true of Trump, right? I mean, Trump is, he's a walking scandal. Trump is so scandalous that when he says, grab him by the junk, y'all, and I'm specifically talking about you, Christina, the demographic you represent, you guys are like, hey, it's all good, we'll vote for him.
Let's make t-shirts on
I'm not mad about it. I think that was smart. I think white women are the smartest voting demographic in America because they're like, listen, 2016, it's in my best interest to vote for this guy over this woman. 2020, this guy's saying, you know, if Joe Biden would have done 30% of what he said he was going to do, it would have been the wise vote. And I think white women are going to vote Trump in this time. The entire thing hinges on white women. I'm sorry. People say what they want. We're in a post-racial country, blah, 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 blah. The last two elections have been decided by white women. White women decided they wanted Trump. Sorry, Hillary. White women decided they wanted Biden. Sorry, Trump. I'm sorry, but it's true. So this guy, if you want Biden to win, you got to appeal to this lady right here. You got to appeal to Christine. And you guys aren't doing a really good job, in my view, but I'll let Christine speak for herself. But y'all ain't doing a very good job appealing to people. And this is where you're going to put all your eggs. By the way, Art Perez, if you didn't know, Art Perez is a Hispanic name. And I try to tell y'all, there's a whole contingency of blacks, Hispanics, young people, LGBT people. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if Biden got absolutely fucking annihilated in this election season, man. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say Art from day one has been a Trump guy. He's day one been you know, America first, all that shit. And you know, a lot of times Art and I don't like see eye to eye on the Trump MAGA stuff, but I'm also an America first guy. But I'm an immigrant. I don't know if Art's an immigrant. But I'm an immigrant, but I'm absolutely like 100% America first, blah, blah, blah. I can't manifest that into voting for Trump because I do not believe that Trump is really America first. I think Trump is America first insofar as he sees himself as the American. But I don't really see that. Cygnus says, I hope Trump wins. Now, Cygnus, are you a traditional Democratic voter? Are you on the right? Are you middle? Kind of tell us where you're at. And then we'll get back to it. But here's Chris Hayes. Chris Hayes is angry now. He's saying that the Supreme Court's decision to hear the case. Now, please keep in mind,
to even hear
they're not saying you're right. You do have immunity. They're saying, okay, that's the argument you make. We will hear it. They're mad about that. They're mad that they'll hear it. Why? Because it's going to push his trial date is going to push it down to where he's able to run. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They wanted this.
No.
They wanted.
Plans are foiled.
They wanted Trump in the middle of this giant legal jihad while he's running for office. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, if you are on the left or a Democrat or anti-Trump or whatever, you do have to say, that's because what happened was it literally a week before the general. The FBI, the Comey letter, he came out and it talked about how Hillary was, again, looking to be indicted or whatever, grand jury, whatever. And that absolutely affected the elections. And prior to the Russiagate, excuse, that was the primary excuse. But then Vladimir Putin took it over with Russiagate and all that stuff. But we continue. Okay, so Cygnus, okay. This is another one. I'm independent, middle of the road. Interesting. Kevin Smith says, please, fam, don't be TYT. Yeah, I don't think it's possible for me to be TYT, but shout out to them. We continue.
He does not face trial in an election year for attempting to end American democracy.
Also of note, just yesterday, a judge in Illinois removed the former president from its state's ballot under the...
This right here is just bad baseball, man. This is dirty pool. We're talking about removing this dude and not giving people the opportunity. Sometimes I wonder if these people are trying to incite a civil war.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
You're one guy. Who are these people to randomly decide? No! We're not. Same thing happened in our Maine. This is insane. And the fact that Democrats really think that this is somehow going to help them is insane. You're just creating more people that are going, wait a second. Newsflash. We all saw what happened on January 6th. Yep. I don't like it.
Nope.
I don't like what happened on January 6th. But you know what else? My wife and I have two quote, small businesses. My wife and I are 1 or 2 phone calls away from... I don't have the life that a normal American person has. So just because I am comfortable in this hellscape does not mean that it's all good. That's really important to understand.
Yeah.
But this Illinois judge, what do you think you're doing, man? You are giving this dude and the people who support him complete and total validation of all of their, quote, conspiracy theories about the deep state. You're validating all of them by doing this. It's maddening to me that people do not understand that. It's just crazy to me. As well as Big Bro Applejack also having a business. Love to see it. Love to see it. You love to see it. See, you can be critical of the exigencies that capitalism puts people in, while at the same time you can milk the hell out of that system and actually do something good with that capital. We continue.
Yep.
14th Amendment's insurrection clause, making it...
Here's a $10 super chat from Brother Art Perez. Trump said peacefully protest to the Capitol. Yes, Art, but as I've covered over and over again, the alternate, I forgot the name of the website, the name escapes me now, but you guys remember when all the MAGA people got pushed off of Twitter because Elon hadn't come to save free speech yet? Mm-hmm. I forgot that the other, there was an alternative platform that was stood up in wake of that. And these people were absolutely talking about murdering Mike Pence. Some of these people were posting live on January 6th and saying that Nancy Pelosi is calling for help and it got rejected. Now, we did an entire Middle America on that where I actually showed everybody the screenshots because I got in on those conversations. So the idea that Trump is pure as a driven snow relative to January 6th and that's all that was going on, I reject that assertion. I don't take the right wing view of Trump, which is just he's just this great guy and he's just trying to do his best for America. I also don't take the left wing view of Trump. He's just this big dolt and he's orange and all the rest of it. I think that this dude is a very calculating individual. I think that he surrounds himself with extremely smart people, intelligent people who do not necessarily have the highest moral standards. And I think that makes it so that half the shit that he's being accused of is probably true, but I don't think that makes him any different from any other politician. And so that's where I'm at. But, Democrats, I'm sorry, man, but your Trump strategy from the beginning seems to be to try to use some way to get the legal apparatus to overturn the will of the people who voted him in.
Right.
I was just as... See, here's the thing that gets me about the whole, you guys are destroying democracy thing, the Trump thing.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with that. You guys took democracy away from us in 2016. You completely orchestrated that shit so that Bernie Sanders could be screwed. You guys gave Hillary early questions, all types of shit. Literally, they relocated the DNC office to fucking Brooklyn, which was Hillary's HQ. They did that to us. They took Bernie from us. Do you know that would have been the first time in my life I would have voted for any blue candidate at a general election?
Same.
That's how powerful Bernie Sanders was in 2016.
Yep.
And they took it from us.
Yep.
And then in 2020, you guys remember with the crazy ballots in Iowa, and they had poor little MF Vigeland there out there crying. Ugh. The Democratic Party has told their constituency, no, we're going to tell you. I don't know if people don't remember this, but they had the black dude up there. They were talking about delegates and super delegates. And the black dude was saying, hey, man, those are the rules. The party decides at the end of the day. So the Republicans don't do that. You guys remember there was a Never Trump campaign, but the Republicans were like, we want Trump, and so they acquiesced. That did not happen on the Democrat side. They did not acquiesce to our demands for Bernie or whatever. So the Democrats have gone out of their way. They won't allow a real primary with Biden. They won't allow Biden to be actually challenged. And so my perspective on what happened on January 6th is that it's unforgivable. It should be punished. It was an attempt to upend our democracy, not overthrow it, but it's a Trump exceptionalist move. That's how I interpret it. I think it's horrible. I think he should spend the rest of his life in prison. At the same time, I also believe all of the operators who did what they did in 2016 should also suffer the exact same fate and should also be getting the exact same level of scrutiny and investigation, and they're not, and that's why I don't care about any of these indictments. I don't care about a single one of them, because it's 100% partisan. You guys don't know how to beat this dude and get what you want. And you guys, I'm specifically talking about the elites in the Democratic Party. You guys want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to have Joe Biden up there because you know you can control him, but you want to beat Trump. And those two things appear at this point to be mutually exclusive, dear listener. Mutually exclusive.
So you're saying you think that the people that are involved, like with the January 6th thing, which one of them should suffer the same fate? Which one? Are you talking about all the people that loaded up in there? Or are you
everybody
talking about
that was in that office.
All
Trump,
the leaders that were
Trump
making phone calls, avoiding phone
Trump,
calls.
Giuliani, his lawyer. His lawyer was the one that was hyping all those PTSD guys. Oh, it's time to bring your blood and your treasure. We got to do this for our country. Yada 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 yada. He was doing that the entire time, and Art and the rest of them don't want to hold him accountable for that. And I'm sorry, I'm out. But at the same time, you'll never see a Democrat that wants to hold Hillary accountable for all the shit that she did, and the DNC for what they did in 2016. They absolutely stole the election. It was absolutely election interference. And, a person could make the argument the same thing happened in 2020. Some really weird shit happened in 2020. So, Art, I'm not going to relitigate that. Go back and watch the thing, and, it's fine. It's like I said. All the people that are defending January, I hate talking about January 6th because I look at January 6th the same way I look at 2016. These people want to hold on to power. They all of them do. The idea that Donald Trump is the only person that wants to hold on to power and will break the law to keep it is freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We saw this already in 2016. The media didn't make a big deal out of it because the media was working with the DNC because they had all assumed that Hillary was going to be the anointed one.
The third state to do so after the Colorado Supreme Court's precedent-setting ruling last year. Okay, so we talked about this earlier when the lower court hearing came out, talking about the fact that if the Supreme Court did take it up, it could have a variety of effects on the timing of the trial. There was a sort of best case scenario for the Democrats' version of events where it could still proceed relatively quickly and have a chance of coming to some conclusion before Election Day, or a worst case scenario where there was no possibility given the scheduling that could possibly be before the court. And it does seem like there's still an opportunity here from the Democrats' perspective to have this trial happen before Election Day. But the problem is it going to end up being an October surprise?
I mean, how much more transparent can you be? You don't want to face him in the general? Do you think Trump, do you think there's anybody on the Trump team going, damn, like, what are we going to do to get Biden off this ticket, bro? Because how are we going to be able to dealing with Biden on a debate stage? You think that's going on right now on the Trump team?
No way.
Is it going to end up being too late in the game to really affect voters?
You know, this is hilarious. I mean, I hate, I would love to believe that I'd be the type of person that would hate to rub salt in wounds, but I'm really not that type of person. I actually do like to salt people's wounds from time to time. Shout out to RGB. They were telling Shorty in the last days of the Obama administration, they're like, yo, you got to sit down, bro.
Oh, yep.
She said, hell no. I am going to stay here until Hillary becomes the president, and I'm going to be the first female Supreme Court justice, and I'm going to swear in the first female president of the United States. So RGB, that little Jewish lady, she said, man, fuck y'all. I'm going to be on this treadmill. I was just watching the CBS singer show on RBG on the treadmill, little cute Jewish lady on the treadmill. She wasn't playing around. And the Lord Jesus showed up in the room and said, hey, we got to go. It's over with. We got to go. We're going to have a conversation, Miss Bader Ginsburg. We're going to have a conversation. That lady stayed in there for as long as she did because she just had to have that emotional and symbolic victory. And the irony of that is that because of her ego,
yep,
there was another spot open in the Supreme Court which completely swung the entire Supreme Court fixedly to the right, probably for the next 2 to 3 decades. And now we have Joe Biden. And he needs to step down. But he won't do it. He's not going to do it. And to me, it's like, look, man, you're about to turn this country over into our hands. Look, this idea that if Trump gets elected, democracy is over. Stop it. Stop it. You do not believe that. Normal person sitting in your room. You do not believe that Donald J. Trump is going to take over the world and be the president forever. Stop it. You don't believe that. Come on, guys. We continue.
Decision.
Right. I mean, look, the process from a legal standpoint just has to play out along its own timeline. The Supreme Court has scheduled this basically as quickly as they possibly can, given that they are going to take it up. What Chris Hayes and other liberals I was seeing on social media are really mad about is that they decided to weigh in on this at all, and rather than just letting the lower court ruling stand.
It's BC. God bless him. Trump loaded the court. Now an embryo is a person. Pence had a kid that was from a test tube. Now an embryo is a person. Now.
Unbelievable.
BC, if you don't realize how terrifying that statement is, then I can't help you. We continue.
Yeah.
And suggesting that this is an effort to delay the trial so that it takes place after the election. Okay, look, Supreme Court justices are political actors, so I can't rule out that that's part of their calculation. But on some level, I mean, this is a pretty fundamental question, whether the person who occupies the office of the executive branch enjoys this kind of a vast immunity.
I don't understand how this is a fundamental question. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I the son of a lawyer, so maybe I'll get an actual, constitutional expert on here. Maybe I'll get Nilesh. Nilesh will know. Yeah, I'll seriously, because I don't understand this aspect of it, the legalese aspect of it. So, do you understand what he just said there?
The office of the executive branch enjoys this kind of a vast immunity.
I just don't understand if the founding fathers, we've got this system of checks and balances, how it's under an executive branch, judicial branch, blah 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 blah. So we've got these divisions of power, specifically because of the understanding of original sin. We know we cannot give absolute power to one person; they're going to abuse it. That's the entire premise of checks and balances. Okay, so if we have that as checks and balances, then if you say that the head of the head of the executive branch has complete and total immunity, then in what sense can you materially say that there are checks and balances if one of the guys in the branches who has extreme power is beyond
accountability? Yeah.
And presumably beyond accountability for the rest of his life, for crimes committed while he was in the Oval, like that may be the current law, or there might be verbiage in the current law such that you can easily get there. But regardless, I think he's going to get found innocent and he's going to be fine. But regardless, that's got to get some attention paid to it. Why is it? How are we even having this conversation? Picture it, dear listener. Let's say that because here's the thing to me, is like Trump going for immunity is then a tacit admission of guilt. Why would you want immunity if you didn't do anything? He wasn't talking about immunity doing Russiagate.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because he knew he didn't do anything.
Oh, no.
But he's pushing the immunity thing now, which to me is a clear indication I am fucking guilty of everything and more that you said that I am. But guess what? I'm the president. Okay, well, look. If that's what the language in the Constitution currently says, I don't like it. But all right, they're going to have to sit there and wrestle it out and see if the president's got immunity. Mm-hmm. I agree with that as well. If that were the case, then every president would have to be charged, correct. And that's what people on the Democrat side do not understand about Trump and the black community. And why Trump's current legal problems is building a bridge psychologically with black men in particular.
Yeah. Because
it's not the black community, it's black men.
Yeah.
Black women have not changed on Trump. They haven't changed on Trump since they've been pretty consistent with Trump. Black men have been, we just don't show up. We go, if these are the two on the ballot, man, fuck that shit, we good. It's not going to be like that this time, y'all. I'm telling you, it's not going to be like that this time. But Art is right. They're all criminals. But for Art to say that is also an admission on your part, Art, that your man is also a criminal. We continue. A lot of truth coming out today, dear listener.
I don't think anyone should hold that anyone in elected office should have that immunity from prosecution. We want not just Trump, but all political figures to be held to account. When they misuse the powers of their office. So I don't think it's not on its face ridiculous that the Supreme Court is going to consider this question, even though it does have the effect of potentially delaying the trial beyond the election.
It's not ridiculous in the sense that the language is what it is. But it is ridiculous at the conceptual level that this is even a thing. The person who is the most powerful should have the most accountability, not the least.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, sure, but remember, the Supreme Court takes up a very small number of cases every year. It certainly is not the case that every broadly relevant issue is taken up by the Supreme Court. And remember, this was decided by the D.C. Circuit Court in a unanimous decision that legal experts across the political spectrum evaluate it as very conclusive. I don't think even Republicans at this point, or any point really, were arguing that there's any merit to Donald Trump's claims here. Remember,
keep in mind, Trump supporters and the few of you who still believe in this election stealing thing, on top of the Supreme Court justices that Trump installed, he also installed, which was more, I think it will be more impactful in the next 10 to 15 years, because that's really going to be, people think the Dobbs decision was the end of abortion. It is to a degree, but Trump was putting up a lot of municipalities before and setting up a lot of circuit court judges, like the ones that we ran into, the appeal and all that almost went to, we had to deal with the circuit court, right? So he was setting up a lot of those. So the ones we were dealing with were completely hostile. Or they were trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Trump's been setting those up. What people don't understand is, like, here's what's going to happen, right? Boom, you got this thing. It's no longer a federal law. So each state's going to have to decide. And then it's going to get to the circuit courts and things like that. And Trump had already pre-packed those local municipalities with people that he hand-selected from the freaking Heritage Foundation.
Yep.
A couple of which, I will tell you straight up, have no freaking qualifications in business operating in those positions. It's kind of like Fannie Willis's boyfriend. Shout out to him, or girlfriend. I don't want to assume his gender. We continue.
what he's claiming is that basically he is broadly immune from anything because he's the president of the United States of America. It goes fundamentally to the core of what it means for us to be a country in a constitutional republic, a democratic republic. So this isn't really about the merits needing to be decided by the
How many abortions do you think Trump has paid for? A dozen, probably. A dozen.
court. And I do think there's a very strong case that this is a political decision. But framing it as a conspiracy in the way Democrats have done, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, because here's the problem.
You guys have been the conspiracy theorists for the last 6 to 8 years. Russiagate is a conspiracy theory. Rachel Maddow,
I was just gonna say,
saying that over there in Minnesota, Coal Lake, Minnesota, Rachel Maddow saying that Trump is going to freeze us out. She literally did a segment on that about how Trump could freeze us out. We could all freeze to death because the electrical grids could get shut down in Minnesota. It's below, 0 temps and all the rest of it. And I didn't even do a story on it because it was so stupid. Jimmy Dore said it. I said, nah, she didn't say that shit. Jimmy's exaggerating. I said, holy shit, she really said it. I said, I can't do it. So I did a throwaway comment about it. You know what I'm saying? I just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And literally, I wish I could find the screenshot. Homeboy had this big thing about what could happen, how Trump would do it, blah, 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 blah. These Democrats screwed up the minds of so many people, bro. It's like, yo, are you serious right now, fam? This is where y'all at right now. We continue.
It is fine to believe that the Supreme Court is a political institution. Very few people at this point, I think, would argue that it's not. Republicans have been arguing for years against activist judges in the other direction.
It's true. It's true. Y'all been talking about activist judges a lot. Now these judges are clearly activists. But because it's going around the shit that you like, now it's okay to have activist judges. Because we're so short-sighted. We don't realize that you
make its way around.
You think the Democrats aren't going to find them a Trump? They're going to find them a Trump. They're going to find them. Man, listen, we continue.
And now we have activist judges who are conservative in nature that are overwhelmingly influencing the Supreme Court decisions right now. That being said, the Biden administration in particular, and establishment Democrats more generally, have been very skeptical, very hesitant to do anything serious about Supreme Court reform. So it kind of feels like, what are you really...
Well, that's because, and this is almost by design, it's damn near impossible to reform the Supreme Court, ma'am. And there's a reason for that. Look, if I was a Democrat, I would be terrified, because there's this constant, every time they lose, instead of saying, what do we need to practice on?
Yeah.
What do we need to learn?
Yeah.
The instinct is, What law can we find so that we can find a way to reverse this? So now, you guys, we've been grinding for 50 years trying to save the lives of babies. 50 years. So we finally got one after 5 decades. And now here come the liberals. What's the solution? We need to add more people in the Supreme Court. That's the solution? Like, that tells me you have no plan.
Yep.
That tells me when you guys are all together and you're spending $500 million in consultants and all this shit, somebody told you to put out that Dark Brandon meme on the night of the Super Bowl. When the Israelis just went in there and cooked up a whole bunch of innocent people that night as we were watching the Super Bowl, doing our bread and circus bit. Somebody in your administration said, yeah, everything's going according to plan. They literally put that out there with the Dark Brandon thing with his eyes all red and shit. As they were posting that.
Are you serious?
Yes, I swear to God, the Israelis out there massacring little innocent
oh my gosh,
Palestinian kids, sending them to the arms of Jesus, all that type of shit.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that's what they're spending their money on. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan, dear listener. If you're a Democrat, you should be terrified right now. Your party has zero plan. Their plan is, let us use the state to lock up our political enemies. Holy shit. And while we're doing it, we'll call everybody else a fascist. We continue.
Or a Nazi.
Complaining about. You understand this is a political institution, and what you're really complaining about right now is that you lost the grips on this particular ability to advance your political efforts.
Love to see black people come together. I hit up Show that's like, yo, get Applejack back on your team, girl. What's wrong with you? We got to stay together in this bitch.
Through the courts, and Republicans are just in the advantage seat right now.
And it's political both ways. Another state, Illinois, has decided to take Trump's name off the ballot. That's a legal decision.
Stupid.
Is that not political? Is that not?
It's suicidal. It's suicidal. I keep hearing about how crazy these Trump supporters are. You know, Trump supporters, they're just randomly out of nowhere just attack you. I don't know, bro. This is like 3 or 4 states that are telling these people you don't even have the opportunity to vote for your candidate. Them Trump supporters ain't shot nobody yet. But keep playing with these people. Keep playing with these people. In this horrible economy and all that. Keep playing with these people. You'll see.
Some effort to make it less likely Trump can win the election. And that's not up to. And also, I think the thrust of like the Chris Hayes criticism, some others, obviously they're concerned that if the election takes place, or the prosecution of Trump the trial takes place after Election Day, it's just not going to happen because he'll be able to use, if he wins the election, he could use the powers of the.
That's exactly what's going to happen, and y'all just going to have to eat it. Y'all just going to have to eat it. You know what else? I would be in a completely different space of mind if y'all would have done the Russiagate bullshit. But you only get one. And you had your one. I don't care what he does. It is not worth burning down the country for.
Right.
I'm sorry. And if you try to play this man this way, the country's absolutely going to get burned down for sure.
Right.
He assumes as president to make some of these things go away. Not the Georgia case, but perhaps the federal case.
I mean,
the
really,
Jack Smith
look at.
case.
I mean, I know we already talked about January 6th, but look at what he did there.
They think if it happens before election.
It was time for him to move on. And then the whole January 6th thing happened. So in this, if he's being treated unfairly, how's he going to react then?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If Trump and his followers are as crazy and Nazi-like as these people keep claiming, then why do you keep playing with them then?
Yeah, right.
Because you're playing with them.
Right.
Y'all know what this is. We all know what this is. We can't beat this dude.
Yep.
We want to use the law to put him on the bench. That's what's going on. Come on, y'all.
Day that could change the results of the election if he's convicted. And a lot of people are making that assertion that resolving Trump's legal issues before the election will be bad for him if he's convicted, and thus it's important to do that, which is an explicitly political rationale.
Yeah.
Also a deeply unproven one, frankly. Look, this guy has faced a lot of criminal, like he's been found
100%.
Liable for defamation against
100%.
Carroll. He just had a ruling against him in New York with respect to his businesses.
Yeah.
He's faced this is a controversial man whose controversies are known, and it has not greatly impacted him. So it's certainly not impacted his support among Republicans. It doesn't, frankly, seem to be the kind of issues that keep independents even at bay. Now, could it damage him? Sure. Polls suggest that people have said that if he were convicted, that would maybe change their mind about whether they're going to vote for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's a kind of untested theory.
I think that's a good point. And if I were doing columns for Democrats, which I blessedly am not, I would be focused not so much on the outcome of the trial as having an effect. Because remember, the reason why, and this makes Democrats crazy, the reason why nothing seems to stick to Trump largely is because there's very different media environments. And Democrats have contributed to this, by the way, around the 1-6 messaging. People look at what happened on 1-6. They say Donald Trump was not responsible. This is a witch hunt. They're coming after him from freedom of speech, et cetera, et cetera. Where the trial, I think, might start to peel some voters away from Trump is that it might excavate the nature of the fraud scheme in the weeks preceding January 6th. If that is true.
That is fine. That would resonate with me. I'm not a Trump supporter. It would resonate with me. The problem is, Brianna, you guys took us through the Russiagate stuff for 4 to 6 years. So nobody cares. We've heard over and over again. So even if he's guilty of this thing, it's just not going to land. Mm-hmm. That's why you shouldn't lie and make shit up about people. Because if people are as bad as you think they are, you just give them enough time and they will show that. Mm-hmm. But you guys engineered this situation because you do not respect the American people, because you guys don't think that we can't see. We continue.
And if that is which is my instinct, and if that is what actually will motivate some Trump voters, could motivate some Trump voters away from Trump, then that is something that could be excavated with or without the trial taking place. Democrats have had all of this time.
Yeah, that's right. It's the boy who cried. Correct,
I'm
Ian.
literally thinking of the boy who cried wolf, and then you
Correct.
pull up Ian's.
That's why Charlemagne the slave. I'm not going to call him Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne the slave got up there on NBC and said, guys, I can't scare people anymore. It's literally what he said. It's not working anymore. It's scaring people with Trump. You guys got to give me something else. Yeah. They'll probably give you a slice of watermelon, Charlemagne. We continue.
Their media and focus their messaging on the actual scheme as opposed to the fact of people rushing the Capitol building on the date of January 6th. And that might be a place they should pivot to. Now,
it will not matter. And it will not matter, not because, Trump could assassinate somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it. I'm sorry. I heard Trump's own people boo him. Mm-hmm. When he kept talking about the vaccine, right. He kept trying to take credit for it over and over. He kept bringing it up over and over. Yep. They booed him.
Right.
And now, do you hear him talking about it anymore? No. So there's a real symbiotic relationship between Trump and his sycophant, supposedly. Yeah. It's not as simplistic as people think it is. It really, really isn't. And even Joy, in all of her brilliant, and she's got great political instincts. She was working with Bernie twice, so she was like one of the main. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even she, look at how she thinks strategically. She says, "Look, if we tell them the details of the scheme, maybe we can pull off some voters." That is not policy. Right. So Brianna is not saying the Democrats need to tighten up on policy. Right. She's saying we need to do a better job of convincing people that Trump is a criminal. Holy hell.
Substantial delays now, and not only the Jack Smith.
Yeah, did you see the video of Biden eating fried chicken with a black family for PR? Did that really happen?
Some of this stuff is just so uncomfortable.
Well, here's my thing. Here's my thing with a Biden, okay? Biden was eating ice cream as people were talking to him about the genocide that's happening in Gaza.
Wait.
He was literally like munching on ice cream while he was talking about fixing Gaza. These kids are dying out. He's sitting there like, it's just so terrible. So terrible. So terrible. Charlemagne the Fraud pretends to be black. He don't even eat fried chicken. He don't even use Crisco. Okay, if he doesn't use Crisco, you know he's not one of us, bro. He out there in Manhattan with them white folks eating escargot and all that shit now.
I mean,
He's
I'm
not.
seeing
He
a
ain't
bunch
down
of
with the
French
struggle.
fries.
He ain't down with the struggle.
I don't know if this is it, but I saw a bunch of French fries. I didn't see fried chicken, but it does look like that's.
I mean, I'm sure it's a fried chicken joint. I'm
Yeah.
not mad at him. I'm not mad at him. If you love Gaza and children, though, you'd be mad. That dude's out there just munching on his ice cream the entire time. We continue.
Case, but also the Georgia case because of the Fani Willis debacle.
Yeah, I think it speaks to a liberal fear that Biden just can't beat Trump in a head-to-head match.
If you fear that Biden can't beat Trump, but Trump is still not popular, the simple solution would be to take him and sit him down and then insert another person and say, this is going to be our candidate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not just that they want to beat Trump. They want to beat Trump a certain way or lose. That's it. That's their mentality. They're losers. Biden was munching on ice cream while saying Bibi was going to do a ceasefire on Monday. Bibi says that ain't true. Biden's own press secretary said that Biden lied to the Americans. Correct. While he's just enjoying his ice cream. I am not going to comment on that because he's the president and I'm trying to stay faithful to the Bible. Go ahead.
It just seems like,
What a disaster.
they should be working on the policy issues that are keeping people away from the Democratic Party. Like we said before, when I'm sorry, what's his name? I can't think of mind fog. The one that did all of the he was doing the stuff for the black people and then he got it and he was talking to that guy in the barber shop. I cannot believe it. Bernie, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Bernie was up and we heard what Bernie was saying about stuff, like both of us changed gears and we were like, this is the first time I might vote, Democrat. But I feel like that they're not focusing on that. Like there's this weird obsession with Trump, and I feel like it's still just another version of the Trump derangement system.
100%.
It just seems like they're not focusing on where we should be going. And I don't know, maybe this is all just part of that game where it keeps everybody like, we're all interfighting with each other, and there's people at the top that are actually making the money. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird situation. It seems like, maybe we should all try to focus on like getting that third party option where we have actually policies that help us Americans, that don't ship all of our money over for more wars. But anyway.
Yeah, I'd have loved to have that child tax credit thing. That was really popular with a lot of people. But instead we sent, I don't know, $400 billion so that the Ukrainians could die horrible deaths and then give up Crimea and Donbass anyway.
Yeah.
But hey, Russia's weakened, so hey. Yeah, I mean, I don't care if Trump ate with a black family. I don't care. I think for me, it's like the president's job is not to be my friend. It's not to be my friend. It's not to eat with me. It's not to eat with people that look like me. That's not his freaking job. It's not even his job to like me or like people that look like me. That's not his job. Pass the freaking policy in accordance with the Constitution of these United States.
Yeah.
That's all I care about with the freaking president.
Yeah.
How he feels about me and black people, that's between him and Allah. That's not between him and me. I don't care. I truly don't. I really don't.
I actually don't like it. I don't like that he won't pull back on the crime bill that he was a part of. And then he's going to sit here and like do this like meal sitting around the table. Like you're sharing something with these people.
It's like, hey, Jack, too bad your dad couldn't be here because he died in prison. But it's good that
God.
you're here, Jack.
And it just feels like, also, I feel offended because I feel like, do you think that we're really going to fall for this? Like, are we supposed to be like, oh.
Yes, because he's a black people.
Right. They're letting him sit at their table with their kids.
These are black people. We're the only people that would have let that dude come on there and say, you ain't black. Can you imagine him going to his show and saying, if you go on to Ben Shapiro and say, hey, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Jewish? Stop it.
It would never happen.
Ben Shapiro would have took off his yarmulke when it went, Grrrr!
It would have been over with.
Rightfully so.
Canceled.
Rightfully so. Only black people only one stupid enough to do that shit, bro. Shout out to my people. I love my people, man, but I swear we love losing. We continue.
Unless there's some extraordinary spectacle of a trial right before it, they feel like they need a Hail Mary because they're looking at the same polls we're looking at that show Joe Biden very capable of losing this election to Donald Trump, perhaps more likely to do so.
Yeah, all right. Hoping for an October
Capable of losing. SubhanAllah.
prize. Will they get it? Keep with us. We'll let you know more about what's going on in the news right after this.
Yeah, they keep looking for an October surprise. October Surprise, I think, is a movie about a miracle. That's not how you're supposed to do politics. That's our jurisdiction.
Right.
We're the religious ones.
Yeah.
So we're the ones that pray for miracles. Y'all are supposed to be constructing policies for us. What do you mean October Surprise? We are doomed. We are freaking doomed. Shout out to Christine Whitfield. She said, yes, he ate with a black family at their home on camera. He's taken pandering to a whole new level. It was cringe to watch.
Right.
Kind of like when he spoke at the black church. It's hard to... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had it playing over here. I paused it.
There he is. He was. he told the man in the house to go get him a drink because he thought he was in he thought he was in his own house. Hey,
babe!
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Oh my God. What?
Whoopi Goldberg's crazy self said that if Trump can't be prosecuted, that means that Biden could put all the Republicans in jail right now. Listen. This shit. Hey, if you don't believe we're in a simulation, all right. Then, why do you think you're owed something for your vote? Policy? Who are saying we are represented in America? You're just as pay picky for the gov. Now pay your taxes. Liberal paranoia is sky high. You know, to be honest with you, I haven't met one of these people yet, like in real life. You know, like these MSNBC people and all that. Like, I haven't really met anyone like that is on that. Maybe I need to go out. I mean, you know, there's a flood warning and shit outside right now, so maybe, you know. Maybe I need to go, you know, this state doesn't really comport to, you know, getting out there and pressing the flesh.
It doesn't.
Because people got snot running down their faces 24/7 in this godforsaken state. All right. All right, guys. Anyway, I hope you could see through our and Christine's commentary that these people are not here to save us. Okay? They're not here to save us. So if your neighbor's in trouble, man, help out your neighbor. Get him some sugar. Get him an egg. You know, they come knocking on your door. We got to help each other out because these are the people in charge.
Yep.
Literally a genocide is going on, and this dude is eating ice cream while he's talking about a genocide. So,
I mean,
guys,
I do think that you know what? I've said a bunch of times, like, you know, like his mental state and stuff like that is not where it should be, respectfully.
Later,
But,
Delaney.
I mean, him eating ice cream in that situation, do you think that could be part of that?
Part of what? Part of his condition?
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean...
I don't see Barack Hussein Obama doing that.
That's what I mean...
Like, Obama,
do you
for
see
all
Biden
of his
doing
issues...
that 35 years ago?
I don't see Biden doing that 10 years ago.
Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
like
feel
something
that's...
significant. Like, I'm trying to tiptoe around it because I swear, I want to be respectful.
I know.
But there's a significant loss of aptitude in that man. And it's, you know, it's just like being a teenager, you know, like when you're a teenager, you're kind of in this halfway world of dependence and independence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're coming to that stage of life, you have to go back to that stage of dependence and independence. And it's hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very hard for a lot of people. So shout out to him. You know, I don't think it's something that should be made fun of. It's just, to me, it's like, just die with grace, man. Like, this is the last stage of your life. You got to live your dream.
Yeah, why do you want to be doing this?
Like, spike the football and, like, go off into the sunset, bro.
Yeah.
But now, like, you're going to end up like RBG because at the end of the day, like, all that great shit that RBG did for women, like...
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
it seems like every time, like,
you can't
doesn't
box.
really benefit.
You can't box with God.
I mean, although
you can't box with God.
I am glad that she did what she did because it does benefit women that believe like I do. Like, I think that all children should have the right to live. I don't think that you should abort children.
Can we talk?
So, I mean, her decision in doing that to, her feminist ways and staying up in there, whatever her reasonings were, like, I mean, it's pushing stuff in favor of keeping kids alive. So
listen, I know Shorty was on her bed like, I cannot believe this shit. You know what I'm saying? I know she was like, I cannot believe this shit. Like right before she went to the elevator.
I would hate to have been her.
Yeah.
That's your legacy.
Can we talk about how Biden wants to use Russians' frozen money, which Russia has threatened he will act on if they do? Wasn't Trump supposed to bring us to World War III? Yeah, that was a big thing. Was Trump was supposed to bring us to World War III, but he showed incredible restraint with the Iranians with the drone situation. And Mr. Putin sat on his ass and didn't make a single move over there to Ukraine until he was sure that Mr. Biden was in office. Look, if you want to say that that's a coincidence, that's fine, man. All I know is that I was told by my media that there was one guy that was in the back pocket of the Russians the entire time, but the Russians seemed to be intimidated and afraid of dude. But then there's another guy, and when the other guy came in, the Russians didn't seem afraid at all. As a matter of fact, every single time that dude Putin mentions our current president, he's got a little smirk on his face. I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I don't like that. Nobody did that with Trump. And maybe this is some of my old, ignorant, inner city mentality. But if you're going to lead this country, man, like, I need people to take you seriously. You see what I'm saying? I need you to be a little bit afraid of my president, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Because that's a good world for all of us. Because Vladimir Putin, I believe, was afraid of Mr. Trump, and that kept a lot of Ukrainians alive for them 4 years. That's what I think. If you want to know my opinion, that's my opinion. Did you see that the IDF killed over 100 Gazans that were rushing to get humanitarian aid, and the IDF are such bad liars, they try to say they just shot warning shots to calm people down. Then people died in bunches.
The aid trucks ran over the Gazans. Oh my
really
God.
Sad. I don't know how people believe them. Man, people don't believe them, Christine. Nobody believes that. If you say you believe that, you're just saying that because you don't believe that Palestinians are human beings, man. Lonnie O says, that's simple. Putin smelled weakness. Yeah. Lonnie, I don't know you, but that's exactly right.
Yeah.
See, Lonnie said in one little line, it's something that took me 18 if you watch too much of this stuff, guys, you can really be at the point where you're like, yo, there's no reason to be here anymore. So, last thing I'll leave you with is be careful about watching this stuff. Be careful about how much time you devote to this stuff in your mind. You don't have to watch all the videos of death and destruction. Just because the video is there doesn't mean you have to click play. You don't need to see it. You know what's going on. Get in with your God or whoever it is that you work with and find some way to help those people. But I would really, really, please, guys, protect your mental health. Protect your mental health. There are people who can see this happen. Benjamin Netanyahu. The man is obviously and clearly full of evil spirits. Obviously. These people that are making these videos over there in the IDF, obviously full of evil spirits. Listen, again, like I said, guys, it's 2024, but I'm still an old school Christian, man. And I still believe that there are real superhuman levels of evil that people can get to. Just like there are levels of physical strength that we max out on, but a lot of these demonized people, they become stronger than 10 men. It's the same thing. Your capacity for evil expands. Yep. And I truly, truly believe these people are inhabited by very powerful, evil spirits. And that a lot of these people they're in hell right now prematurely, and they're raising hell and bringing hell to earth. And the rest of us are saying, what the fuck is going on? But they're enjoying this shit. Yeah. And be careful about watching those videos too of the IDF soldiers bragging and celebrating, because then you'll end up getting the wrong idea. There's a bunch of Israelis over there horrified about the shit that's going on. There's a bunch of Israelis out there protesting the shit that's going on. They're not getting the coverage because neither side has a fiduciary benefit to having them get a voice. Yeah. But we got to be so careful here. I hate the people that are doing this to these kids. The people. The specific people. I hate those people. I don't hate Jewish people, though. And we got to make that distinction. Those people over there who are full of spirits that need to get the fuck off this planet, they have collectively decided to abandon the human race. So we need to dichotomize Jewish and Israeli people from those people. That's not the same thing. We're almost dealing with a separate ontology here. That's a different discussion. All right.
Pray for their repentance.
Yeah. Pray for their repentance so they can learn what it is to be human again. Because they've forgotten. We've forgotten. Vin, do you believe in the Old Testament? Lonnie, we'll talk about that another time. I believe in the entire Bible, front to back. But this shit right here, holy hell. All I can tell you guys, we got sociopaths and psychopaths that are running our government and our media. And the vast majority of us, bless God, are not sociopaths and psychopaths. So we're not going to let them poison us against each other. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys.